Dan Larson here at the photo booth with some mail up first. Right out of the gate, I want to go over here to Fury Force from Hammer of the Gods Toys. Walter sent me over a sample to take a look at here. This is Silent Master from their Fury Force line. Obviously an homage to the classic G.I. Joe characters. Squeezed through that filter of the old, Remco and He-Man and those sort of that era of figures that really dominated the market back in the day. This is a whole lineup of figures here. Dutch, Destroyers, Artanian, Serpent Soldier. They've got the whole batch of figures. Stimulate your imagination with these and other exciting characters. There's a lot of homage pieces. There's a War Duke that they've done in the past, as well as a whole batch of original characters and comics and all sorts of other things. Definitely check out HOTG Toys on Instagram. But this is, like I said, Walter was nice enough to send me over this Silent Master. And I really want to take a second and appreciate the packaging here. A full reusable blister package with a custom, blister card in here with the whole roster of figures. That is a really great touch, a really great thing to include with that. And then, of course, this is Silent Master, the original Commando version of Snake Eyes. He's still got the 1983 Remco marking on the back here. He also comes with a ninja sword and an Uzi. This figure's got some heft. He's a chunky thing. I don't know what the production process is here. I probably should have checked with Walter to know for sure. But this is a fun thing that, when you're playing with these toys, when you're collecting them back in the day, you'd never really consider like, how would crossovers work? You have He-Man, you have G.I. Joe, and never the twain shall meet. Obviously, Super 7 Reaction has taken care of doing He-Man through the lens of Star Wars style action figures, and not to mention the fact that there's like Mortal Kombat style He-Man figures out now, and they're doing Jason and Freddy and all that stuff. So this fits right in with all that, and this is a really incredible piece. And I mean, don't sleep on the rest of these. They're awesome stuff. Don't sleep on the Hot G. That's what I keep calling it. Hammer of the Gods Toys Instagram page. Go check that out. It's just a lot of fun stuff. Even if you're not necessarily into the this look of figures, you can just see the passion for action figures and making the pieces and the craftsmanship that goes into it. And also their website, hammerofthegodstoys.com. There's just, it's good to see people who are passionate and creating things, and taking advantage of, there's not a lot of G.I. Joe product out there right now. So, if you're hurting, but please go check that stuff out. Thanks again to Walter for sending that in. This is definitely going up on my shelf. Still waiting on Hasbro to deliver a real live, Marvel Legends style 6-inch Snake Eyes, although I'm totally fine with the custom one that I currently have. Next up, Billy from Norfolk, New York, sent in the Boba Fett 300th figure here in the package. Great presentation. I do have this figure loose. Obviously, I'm an opener. I open all my stuff. I check the box. That's not true. I don't. Not all of them. I open everything unless it's something nice like this. I'm not going to open this, especially because I already have a loose one. But Masterpiece Transformers, more expensive import figures, Mafex and Revoltech and Figure Arts and that stuff. I keep those boxes. I can't throw those out. Mainly because, hey, if the stuff really goes up in value, I may want to sell it, and I want to have the box with it. And if I move, I want to be able to put it back in the box to keep it safe. But this is a really nice piece. This is a great figure. I wasn't a huge fan of how fixed in the position it is, but that's grown on me, and it's definitely one of the best interpretations. In fact, it made our top 10 Boba Fett action figures list, I think, if I remember correctly. Billy also sent in the movie Sue Storm here in the back, carded. That's part of a, obviously, translucent. That'll be added to my translucent or partially translucent figure collection. She's got a nice translucent effect here, too. Not the worst figure. The old Toy Biz Marvel Legends figures, I didn't care for a lot of the female figures. Too thin, too weird looking. The articulation made them look grotesque. But I got to say that's not one of the worst ones. Also sent in the Palpatine over here, another translucent piece. I have Palpatine figures. I don't think I have this one. I might have had this one at some point, but I definitely didn't have him translucent, so that's a lot of fun, including all the weapons. I think I have to check. I think I have, I can't remember if I have Darth Maul or Obi-Wan. I have two others that are like this. I can't remember who they are off the top of my head. And honestly, I can't even remember if I included them in the last check-in video where I put all my translucent figures. They're in separate spots. I don't keep them together, and sometimes it's hard to remember exactly which ones I have. Billy also sent in the mostly translucent, no, I guess it's entirely translucent, the old Burger King Boba Fett, Burger King Human Torch here, and then this Boba Fett Bounty Hunters patch. I don't know what this is from. I don't know if this is a custom-made thing. Am I holding this stuff up high enough? I don't know if it's a custom-made thing. All I know is that it's awesome. Oh, 2016 Funko, Lucasfilm. All right, it's not custom. There you go. Question asked, question answered. Scott from Overland Park, Kansas sent in this beautiful thing that I absolutely did not know existed. A couple people did mention it, like, do you have the Blue Beetle? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But this is a really great figure. This is from their, I don't know if the line was called First Appearance, but he has a stand that says First Appearance on it. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. I do like this version of Blue Beetle. And this figure's could use a little bit more articulation. Just like a thigh cut and a waist here. But other than that, it is fantastic. And I really dig it. And thank you very much, Scott, for sending that in. Scott also sent in this mint on card back here. Toy Biz, very early. This is 94. Toy Biz Punisher, the full weapon arsenal version, and also the version that comes with the cheap plastic, brown plastic, cheap plastic coat, and all his guns and stuff. You know what? The charm, the nostalgic pull of this thing still holds up for me. Some of these figures I don't really care for. They're not. This Venom is not good. The highly, I don't remember what they were calling it. The super articulated Spider-Man is still one of my favorites. Captain America's fine. I guess it's really just Suction Cup Spider-Man that I absolutely despise from this line. But he's a lot of fun, and that's a really great piece. And look at this. It was only $7 at Grand Slam, wherever that is. Scott also sent in the Super GoBot here. Future Machine Psycho. Classic piece. Definitely the #1 must-have, gotta-have Super GoBot. When I was first discovering, when they first came out, it had nothing to do with me discovering it. It's when they actually were created back in the 80s. Simple transformation. Just a cool future car. Always loved the translucent dome here. We could actually see the drivers. I can't remember the name of the show that this vehicle actually comes from. It had nothing to do with GoBots whatsoever. As I recall, it was actually kind of a mature audiences sort of show. I could be wrong on that. It's been a while since I read up on it. Not the most posable things, but hey, for me, Super GoBots were actually superior to most Transformers, most of the Autobots and Decepticons. Those guys had, no posability. This guy's actually got some articulation to him. He's kind of a goofy-looking dude, but rubber tires still held up, looking good. Thank you very much for that, Scott. Scott also sent in these Indiana Jones, I think they're called Adventure Heroes. I'm going to turn you down here a bit so you can see my piece of paper. Indiana Jones and the Ark of the Covenant and the Spooky Ghost. I picked up one of these not too long ago at the flea market. They look absolutely delicious, and I love it. And now I've got two, and that's fantastic. And then on top of that, we've got Leader 1 here and Clear Obi-Wan. Leader 1 and Obi-Wan. This dude is loose, and he's loose in all the same spots that he chronically would get loose in. This figure just has always had a problem with the wings, especially. Now that I say that, they're not going to do it. The wings always droop down. Just they never want to. All right, I guess that's. I guess the wings are holding up just fine. But his nose here is pretty loose, and the tails are pretty loose. But still, all the pieces are there. He's not broken. Probably wipe him down a little bit. He's still got his stickers. Looking great. One of my favorites of all time. And then Obi-Wan is Obi-Wan. This guy, can't remember if he was if he was one of the serial promotions. I know Stormtrooper Han from the Power of the Force line. I know he was a serial promotion, but I can never remember. Can't remember if he was. Classic. Weird pose, but what are you going to do? Thanks again for that stuff, Scott. Awesome, fun things. Jim from Tewksbury, Mass. Sent in a whole assortment of action figures, a whole bag of stuff here that I don't have time to go through every single little figure in here. But some bits and pieces and stuff. What I did want to focus on here was this. This is probably one of those like lower end 5 POA. It's not 5 POA. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 9 POA. This looks like a sort of repainted Azrael version of Batman, but I think it works. I like it. I dig it. It's like a Robo-Batman armored suit. I like that a lot. And then we've got Squinky's Boba Fett, who is absolutely adorable. And also this this weird Boba Fett. And I'm not really sure what the story with this is. Perhaps Jim might be able to tell me where this one comes from. This looks like it's just a knockoff of knockoffs. I'm not sure exactly which. It might be a Jango Fett figure. Yeah, I think it's a Jango Fett figure. I don't know. I think maybe it was a Boba Fett. But the helmet's removable, and he sure has a mug there. And the colors are weird, and it feels weird. It's kind of like softish, sort of soft, rubbery. It's got to be a knockoff. But that doesn't make it bad. It's still a cool piece, and I'll definitely be putting it with the rest of my Boba and Django stuff at some point here. Caleb from Monroe, Georgia, sent in some miscellaneous Boba Fett stuff as well. We've got a Christmas stocking. You could fit easily, I don't know, like 15 vintage Fetts in here. So I'll hang that on the fireplace with care this holiday season in the hopes that Boba Fett will soon be there. And inside, Caleb had actually included this Metal Earth Star Wars Metal Millennium Falcon model kit that he fully admits that he bailed on. He started to assemble it and said, you know what? There's no way I'm finishing that. So I'm going to do it. I will get this thing done. I will finish this thing. I haven't seen one of these before, and I am shocked, absolutely shocked at the size of these pieces and how sharp these pointy little ends are and how difficult it looks like it's going to be to actually put this thing together. But when it's done, I think it's going to be awesome, and I think it fits right in with the holiday stocking because Mrs. Toy Galaxy is going to want to put that thing on the Christmas tree. And then he also got, Caleb also sent in the Dormammu Build-A-Figure head. I almost have a complete Dormammu, thanks to you folks. I actually included this head in last week's Build-A-Figure video. I wanted to make sure that if somebody was thinking about sending one in, that I didn't get a duplicate. I wanted to make sure everybody knew that I already had a Dormammu head, and then Caleb had sent that in. So I hadn't actually shot this video yet, but I wanted to make sure that I did acknowledge that he sent that in. I do appreciate that. And so I think that's everything. I covered everybody here. Oh, well, there was like R2-D2 and this guy whose name I can't remember, but I did not have him yet. Man, I do like 5 POA still. He's 5, right? Yeah, he's 5. I do still like 5 POA. It's one of those things where it's like, I wish they'd even just, cut the accessories out and make them even cheaper, because I just collect too much stuff. And this was from Jim from Tewksbury. There's just too much stuff out there, and I had to, as Star Wars movies are coming out every single year now, it's like I had to just sort of step back and say I can't keep buying all the 5 POA stuff. So I think I stopped with the last Rebels wave. Might have picked up 1 or 2 figures from Rogue One and then just said, all right, I think that's it for me on 5 POA. So I didn't have this one, so that's cool. So thank you very much, Jim, for sending that in. Thanks again to Walter at Hammer of the Gods Toys, Billy from Norfolk, Scott, Jim, Caleb. Thanks to everybody for sending stuff in. I genuinely appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, and don't forget to wave at the screen as the names of all our Patreon supporters scroll by. Later.